So we have here a Sparton 5J2 radio that I picked up on Kijiji, and it's a bit more modern than the radios I usually work on, but looks nice. I think this is probably from around 1960 or early 60s somewhere, and it has its knobs, which is important. What else can we learn about it? It has a Made in Canada sticker. That's good to know. And this is very unusual here on the back. That looks like that's plastic. I don't think that's probably not original, but whatever that does. And yet it seems to fit. I don't know. We'll take it apart and see what we're working with. So you can see that it's a more modern design. We have a 50C5 power tube, a 35C3 rectifier. That's a little unusual. And then your typical 12AV6 detector, 12BA6 IF amp, and then a 12BE6 converter tube. Looks like that could be the original electrolytic capacitor. And your IF can. And 2 speakers. And you can see the build quality is not the same as you'd get on earlier radios. It's clearly a cheaper radio. So anyhow, we'll take a look underneath, test those tubes, and see what we're working with.
Well, here you go. I can't find the 35C3 tube in my tube manuals or in any of my tube charts. So I did find it online. It's a miniature half-wave high vacuum rectifier designed for use in AC/DC receivers. It's similar to the 35W4, which is a much more common rectifier, very, very common, but does not have a tapped heater for the pilot lamp operation. So there you go. So it's basically a 35W4 without the tap. Okay, well, I bet you anything that tube is bad. Okay, so I checked the pinouts and they're the same as the 35W4, which is what you'd expect. So we are going to test it and see whether it is indeed bad. Now it's heating up for sure, so that's a good sign. So let's see. So there's no heater to cathode leak. And let's see what kind of power it has. Wow, so it's great. 106. So there you go. You should have taken the bet. It's fine. Okay, so that just leaves the 50C5 power tube. And that one is not heating up, so I bet you this is the tube that is dead. I'm going to check the line voltage, and it's okay. Got everything set for it. Let's see whether there's any life here at all. Oops. Oh, this is not good. No, it's dead. So I'll have to see whether I have any more 50C5 power tubes. I think I might. We might be in luck. So we have the chassis out. It's quite narrow, and that sort of surprised me. The speakers look like they're in good shape, which is good. And it looks like there has been no work done on this. Those look certainly that's an original capacitor there, and that's probably an original capacitor as well. So we'll have to replace those, and I'll test the electrolytic capacitor, the power supply filter capacitor here, which is this guy. You'll see up here in this black can.
240s, which is what's on the schematic, so that is probably original. And we'll find a 50C5 somewhere, and then we'll see how that goes. It's in pretty good shape though, I'd say. We'll do an alignment afterwards. Stay tuned. Okay, here's the plan. We'll be replacing this 0.1 microfarad capacitor down here with this one, modern, and this 0.047 up here, this paper wax capacitor with a modern polypropylene, and then these this multi-cap can we will be replacing with these two 47 microfarad capacitors, electrolytic capacitors. So through the magic of video, let's make that happen. I like to use this spaghetti covering on electrolytics to prevent them from potentially shorting out. So that's good stuff. So the new capacitors are in, and the old capacitors are out. One thing I'll say about this radio is they made great effort to be neat in their line dressing, their wire dressing. If you look at this, look at how neat that is. And they're using terminal strips to keep everything nice and neat, which is kind of unusual in a radio of this, you know, mass production. Quite often in the earlier radios, you see things just would be wired directly. It would look like a rat's nest. Okay, so almost ready to give it a try. I couldn't find a new 50C5 power tube, but I did have one that I'm taking from another radio that I have here, and we'll test it out and see how it goes. Okay, so I say this often, but I can't say it enough. As I'm testing this, I have a number of devices that will help me to be a little bit work more safely with electronics. That includes a variac, an isolation transformer in particular, and also a light bulb limiter. So don't try this at home, kids. Although if you're watching this, you probably already know a fair bit about electronics. Yeah, okay, so we're going to give it a try. We'll start with a lower voltage and bring it up slowly. I have a 50C5 that I borrowed from another radio here. That was the sound of some old capacitors being thrown out. Okay, so we're up to 60 volts. I'm just trying to see whether the heaters are heating up. Usually I find it's around 90 volts that these things start to kick in. Okay, so we're going to have to double. Oh, there we go. Always happens just this side. All right. See if we can get. There we go. Wow, that actually sounds pretty good. Okay, I'm still going to do an alignment, but that's pretty good. So we're doing an alignment now, and in this part of the alignment, I'm basically adjusting these two intermediate frequency, you can't see them, they're on top, intermediate frequency capacitor cans, because they're serving as a filter, and internally, if you like, the radio is operating at 455 kilohertz. So we want to filter out anything other than 455 kilohertz. And to do that, we put a signal of 455 kilohertz in to the antenna. And there's the signal. It's modulated at 1000 hertz. And then we adjust these cans using, in this case, something that's not metal, so it's not serving as an antenna and messing up your signal. I'm just trying to get, I have a meter attached to the output, and I'm trying to get that as high as possible. So we're peaking the meter. And that's actually pretty good right there. There's not much improvement from that. They're probably pretty well set. Yeah, there's really not much to change on that one. We'll try this one. Just slight, very, very slight improvement. There you go. 1960 Sparton 5J2 up and running. Thanks for watching.